So far, we have talked about monopoly and perfect competition. Now, on the one hand, they're the two extremes of market structures. However, they encompass a relatively small part of all product markets that are out there. In reality, a lot of the markets fall into, or a lot of products fall either into a monopolistically competitive market or an oligopoly. So let's look at the monopolistically competitive market. This market is really a hybrid between perfect competition and a monopoly. So just like with perfect competition, you have many firms, no barriers to entry, long run profits end up getting driven to zero. However, unlike perfect competition, they have a heterogeneous product, which means that no product is exactly the same. They're all a little bit different. And so because of that, and we'll talk about this in a minute, they end up being price makers. And when they're price makers, they can set the price. They're going to have it where that price is greater than marginal revenue, and marginal revenue equals marginal cost. That's where they maximize their profits. So now, what firms fall into this? So firms that are going to fall into this are ones that, like I said, have differentiated products. Food-wise, you can talk about almost anything. You can talk about coffee. You can talk about cheeseburgers, cheesesteaks, cookies. Okay, these are all differentiated. Even chocolate chip cookies, if you want to go specific. Chocolate chip cookies, everywhere you get one from, is slightly different. In non-food sense, you can look at clothing. You can look at printers. You can look at books, textbooks, economics textbooks to be very specific. And then, you can look at things like education. College education is going to be slightly different no matter where you go. And not only that, a specific class. Okay, if you take one class at a university and then you took 10 other of the same class, it will be taught different each time. So these are all products in monopolistically competitive market. So what does that mean? So that means that basically what's going to happen in a monopolistically competitive market is that each firm is going to have their own demand. So unlike perfect competition where the market sets the price because every product is exactly the same, in a monopolistically competitive market, each firm has demand for its specific product. And so we're going to look at the example of cheesesteaks. Right? In Philadelphia, it's a big cheesesteak area. Where you go to get your cheesesteak, it's going to taste different no matter where you go. Even if it's just a little bit, but there's some dramatic changes. Even though all of them have bread, steak, cheese. Okay? But it's different kind of bread, different kind of steaks, different kinds of cheeses, so forth. And so each of these places has a demand for their specific products. So if we look at the two largest ones, Pat's and Geno's, which is always the great debate, Pat's or Geno's. They have a demand curve for their specific cheesesteaks. And because of that, and when you go there, they don't have the exact same prices. So what happens because all these firms, each and every firm has their own demand, they act as a monopoly. They make decisions just as a monopoly would. And so if we have our example here for this specific firm, right, just as a monopoly would, they're going to maximize their profit, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. That's going to give the profit maximizing output level. It's going to give the price. You go to where that quantity hits the demand and the average cost. And so you have your output level here. Okay. So every one of these firms is going to yeah, like I said, act just like a monopolist would. Right? They're going to maximize their profits. And so, in this case, their profits are positive. Profits could also be negative. Profits could be zero.